What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to the channel. So, Nick, honestly, I smell a little BS in this story. Nate Diaz has come out and said, give me one retirement fight and then I'm done with the fight game. I want Dustin the Diamond Poirier and then I'm riding off into the sunset. I have a hard time believing this for a couple of reasons. One, the Conor McGregor trilogy always sells and it's always out there. Two, there is a lot of talk about him potentially taking a boxing match against Jake Paul. So even if he does fight out his UFC contract, I don't think necessarily we've seen him fight for the last time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this is Nate Diaz's last time entering the octagon. As far as the boxing stuff goes, who knows? Really, the future will only tell that. But I do think that Dustin Poirier and Nate Diaz both coming out in the matter of a few days between each other and basically saying no thanks to Conor McGregor, the biggest draw in the sport, the fight that really everybody in the entire sport wants to have. There's fighters at 125 that would eat burritos and burgers all day long just to get to weight to fight Conor McGregor. And there's probably guys that would get on some very dangerous diets from heavyweight to get down to Conor McGregor's weight just to get a fight with the guy. True. And these two are just saying, nah, we're good. We're all set on you. And they're kind of setting their sights on each other, which is really fantastic because everybody knows going into this that Conor McGregor is the biggest draw in the sport, followed by Jorge Masvidal and then Nate Diaz. Nick Diaz is there, but he's not as relevant as Nate. And the number 4 guy, without a doubt, is Dustin Poirier now.
Yeah.
There's some talks where, Francis Ngannou might
Izzy's coming up,
but I think Dustin Poirier is number 4, and it's because he has those dance partners, and he has the fights with Conor, and now he's got the feud with Nate. So I think this is absolutely the right fight for Nate to try to go get. I think it's a tough fight for him, but if there's any way that Nate Diaz can go out winning, it's against the guy who's going to give him the exact fight that he wants. I don't think Dustin Poirier is going to abandon ship and forget what he's done for his entire career, which is give the fans really exciting fights just to get a win over Nate Diaz.
No.
I think he'd go in there and put on a really good show and let the best man win. And Nate Diaz likely would be the underdog in this fight, but there is a chance where he could actually pull this off and get a victory. I find it very fascinating, and hopefully it's not the last time we see Nate Diaz, but if it is, no better dance partner than Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, and I smell a little bit of contract negotiation, a little posturing and playing going on here with Nate Diaz. He's going to fight out his contract. Now, the UFC obviously doesn't want to give him a marquee matchup that he has a reasonable shot at winning on his last fight on his contract. That's why they offered him Khamzat Chimaev and people like that, and clearly he turned that down, and for good reason. But he's going to try to get this Dustin fight, and then he's going to allow his UFC contract to expire, and then I believe there'll be some negotiation back and forth, but it'll be for a large sum of money to come back on maybe a 1 or 2 fight, maybe even a 3-fight deal, and that first fight being the trilogy with McGregor. What are your thoughts on the potential boxing match with Jake Paul? Because that seems a bit risky to me at this point in Nate's career.
Yeah, it is very fascinating to think about. And, right before the last fight Jake Paul had with Tyron Woodley, Tyron Part 2, I was thinking that all the directions were pointing at Nate Diaz boxing Jake Paul. And while obviously everybody knows that Nate Diaz is a great boxer and he's really good with his hands, one of the best in the UFC, really one of the best MMA's ever seen, Jake Paul is way bigger than him. Jake Paul is cutting down from about 200 pounds, and he's shown us that he has knockout power. And while I don't think he has the skills that Nate Diaz has, and I don't think he's a better boxer than Nate Diaz, I don't think that it's good for the Diaz brothers brand, and I don't think it's good for the Diaz brothers in general to box Jake Paul. I think if they keep acting like they're too cool, they're too big, they're way too dangerous, that's better for their brand. If Nate Diaz, the guy who nobody can finish in MMA, known as one of the toughest guys, known as the guy that if there was ever 6 rounds in a fight, he'd be undefeated, right? The guy that nobody can take out. If he goes in there in his last fight and it's a boxing match against Jake Paul, the Disney star, the guy that hasn't fought anybody real, there's nobody more real than the Diaz brothers, to be fair, right? Yeah. Everybody says that. There's nobody that would disagree with that. And he goes and gets knocked out by Jake Paul. I think the entire Diaz brothers brand and the whole vibe that they thrive off of would totally get wiped away, and at least they would take a big dent into their persona and their character and their personality. So after watching that fight, I have a feeling Nate Diaz saw the same thing. He was there in person. He saw that guy, he saw Tyron Woodley get knocked out, and he scared that guy with his beer on the way out, but he made sure he was gone before Jake Paul could call him out.
Yeah, I forgot about that beer thing. That was
fantastic. Yeah.
Talk smack to Nate Diaz. He'll just buck at you and make you spill your beer all over yourself. But usually it's other people who spill their beer on you, like what happened to me in the last UFC event here in Houston. But rarely, and sometimes you do actually spill it on yourself. Like
Love
that
a good
guy.
casual.
Yeah, exactly. But yet, listen, the fight, it's just too risky, right? It's just too risky for Nate Diaz. And I think Nate could probably win that fight. But Nate Diaz gets hit. Nate Diaz is pushing 40 years old, and Jake Paul hits pretty damn hard. I know we diehard fans hate to say that. It's like almost sour, those words coming out of our mouths, but Jake Paul really can box, and he really can hit hard. And if he flattens Nate Diaz inside of a boxing ring, the tough guy, super smash Diaz brothers persona takes a massive hit, and I just think it might be a bit too risky for him.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do anything like that, they want somebody from the Stockton Rat Pack to fight him. Try to get him in there with Joe Schilling.
Yeah, exactly.
Stitch him up. Joe Schilling's not going to have any sort of problem with Jake Paul. You're going to see Jake Paul leave on a stretcher. And that might be the move. Like, say, you're not big enough for us, kid, but we got one of our boys. He'd love to fight you. He's closer to your weight. Let's see you fight, stitch him up, Joe Schillings. You get through him, you can have me. That's the type of thing I would do if I was Nate Diaz. But I think what we'll likely see is Dustin Poirier say yes to this fight. He's always saying yes to the big fights. He's putting the money down. He's putting the money down on himself. He's risking it. Like he did with Conor McGregor. Didn't go for the title fight, went for the big money fight, won it. It worked out for him. He's going to do that again. And then, we'll see Dustin at the top of 155 for a little while longer. And then we might see him move up to 170 and be another top contender there. But what I see him doing is fighting Nate Diaz. I see Nate Diaz retiring for a little while. Maybe Conor comes back, and win, lose, or draw, we're going to see Conor take a little bit more time off once again, or call Nate Diaz right out of retirement, and that's when we're going to see that fight. But I still think we're about 18 months to 2 years away from a trilogy with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. I do think Dustin Poirier gets Nate Diaz sooner than later.
I think so, and I think we will see Nate more than one more time before he hangs him up.
Absolutely.
Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Drop us a comment and let us know, do you think Nate's really done with the fight game, or do you think he should box Jake Paul? Let us know in the comments, because we always love engaging with you there. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.
Peace.